Hey y'all, this is Bridget London and the Highwaywoman radio show, coming to you from Austin, Texas.
Yes, here she comes, the highway woman. She comes with music for your soul, and then moves along. She moves along.
And if you're just joining us, this is Bridget London. You're listening to the Highwaywoman radio show. And with me now is Miss Amanda Cevallos. And she's got a hello, Amanda. She's got a brand new album out as of today, right?
Tonight, yes.
Awesome, awesome. Called I'll Never Honky Tonk You. So, hey, Amanda, thanks for being with us on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Hi.
Hi. So, what a great album. Holy smokes. We love it.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about this now for folks listening, and we're going to give some samples here. This is a roots country album. Tell me a little bit about, I know you started out as a child model, and then when did music kind of come into your life? That's what you wanted to do.
When I got a car. When I turned 16, when I got a car, I was driving around, and I, back then, which was a while back ago when I got a car, I was about 16 and I was listening to Selena and going out to a lot of like festivals and seeing Tejano music. So I was driving around in my little car listening to a Tejano tape because I had a tape player, and that's when I realized I could sing.
You started writing when now?
I started writing soon after. I started writing after I fell in love and got my heart broke. And I was always a poet. I'd always written poems, and I would communicate with my mother through my poetry. And she would read and kind of snoop, and that's kind of our way of letting each other know. I was letting her know how I was feeling. And I would write poetry always. And then one day, the poem wasn't a poem. It was a song.
Very cool, very cool. Well, how long have you been in Austin? You grew up in Houston, but you've been playing music now in Austin for a while.
Yeah, I got here on March 10th of 2008.
Okay.
And I moved here from Montana, and I got here during South by Southwest. That was my introduction to Austin. But I grew up in Texas, so I always knew I would kind of end up here. It was a matter of when, and I was getting a college degree, and I wanted to finish that up, and I did, and I made my mama happy, and came home to Texas and did what I wanted to do.
So you mentioned Selena. Would you think she's one of the biggest influences on you? I mean, she broke so many barriers, incredibly so, and even though it wasn't really the style of music you're doing, maybe what she stood for, you think that was a big impact on you?
I definitely do. And I definitely think so. And it was also, not only did Selena influence me, but I was always, I grew up listening to like Linda Ronstadt and the Eagles and singer-songwriter, like Willie Nelson, somebody who wrote songs like Willie Nelson. I was like obsessed with him, and I studied that stuff. And when I wanted to be a songwriter, I was like, okay, how do my favorite people write songs? And I went and like studied their songs and looked at structures, and I took notes, and I like put myself in songwriter school. And I don't know. And I was influenced by my heart. I was going through a lot. I was losing my father at the time. I was just in a lot of pain, and I didn't know how to deal with it, and so I focused on something that made me happy, and I became a songwriter.
Well, and a wonderful songwriter at that. you know, and you can feel your heart, and you're a lot of cleverness, a lot of sass. You kind of have all the great ingredients for great, true country music. I really love this album, Amanda. I really do. And speaking of Willie Nelson now, let's play a cut off of your record that Willie's heard. Tell me a little bit about that. Jose Guadalupe.
Oh, my God. Yes, I got to meet him not too long ago, and he insisted that I sing, and I was shaking. I didn't want to sing, and I said, you know, I didn't bring my capo. And he's like, oh, well, and he just sat down, he goes, play. And I was like, oh, no. So Jose Guadalupe is in B, and I had to sing it in G because I didn't have my capo. And the funny thing is it's a good thing that happened because I was so nervous, and having to sing it in another key made me relax and focus on the note. Mm-hmm. And I was able to get through the song, and he looked at me halfway through it, and he just smiled like, that's a good song, you know. And it was probably one of the most amazing moments of my life as a songwriter.
That is so cool. Let's play that now. Jose Guadalupe from Amanda's new album, I'll Never Honky Tonk You.
Jose Guadalupe, Jose Guadalupe, Jose Guadalupe, Jose Guadalupe, goodbye. Lock your doors and roll your windows up. Someone try to get you, hit 'em from the front, hit 'em from the back.
And that was Jose Guadalupe, a cut from Amanda Cevallos' new album, I'll Never Honky Tonk You. This album is fantastic, folks. It just came out, and Amanda is absolutely wonderful. She's you can see her now. For those of you, our Texas listeners, she's got a bunch of CD releases happening. Now, this will air for folks, you know, a week after your record comes out. So do you want to mention any dates for our Texas listeners where they can come see you in Texas?
Yeah, well, if you go to my website, amandacevallos.com, they're listed there. I don't have them memorized, but I know that I'll be in Fredericksburg next Thursday, and that is, I think it's the 18th. And then on the 19th, I'll be in Cedar Park at the Reunion Grill, and Fredericksburg is at the Crossroads Saloon.
Awesome.
And then Saturday, I'll be at the Domain, and it's a free show out here in Austin on the north side. Yeah, and so that's what I got coming up. And then I'll be at Riley's Tavern at the end of October.
Awesome. And let's mention that. We'll mention it again later on, too. Amanda Cevallos is AmandaCevallos.com. And also, now this album was produced by an old friend of mine, Mr. James Hyland. Tell me how you guys got together.
Well, I was always a big James Hyland fan, and one day I get this, friend request from him on Facebook. And I was, flipping out because I never met him, but I've gone to a lot of his shows, and I'm just a big fan of his songwriting and his band and just his style. And he friend requested me, and I just immediately sent him a message, and I said, hey, I'm a big fan of your music. Thanks for the friend request. I hope to catch a show soon. When are you playing? And he got right back to me and said, hey, I want to produce you. Are you making a record? And I was like, oh, my God, I am. I'm about to, and I don't have a producer. And he goes, well, you got a song I can hear? And, you know, I sent him a song that I had just written with Jonathan Terrell, a friend of mine, a songwriter in Austin, from the band Not in the Face. It's a song that we wrote called Good for Nothing But Each Other. And we demoed it, and I sent it because we were going to record it in 2 weeks. And so I sent it to James Hyland, and he called me back, and he goes, can you come meet me tomorrow? I want to show you what I'm going to do, what I want to do to this song. I won't charge you anything. Just let's see if we have chemistry. And I said, yeah, sure. And I showed up at his house the next day, which is also Warren Hood's house, because James and Warren were living together. And I sat down, and he had my lyrics printed out, and he had notes. And he just started telling me what his ideas were. And I was blown away. And 2 weeks later, we were in the studio, and we cut Good for Nothing But Each Other. And I mean, I couldn't be more happy with what happened that day in the studio, and it was really magical.
That is so cool. How about we play that for everyone?
Yeah, sure.
All right, here's Good for Nothing But Each Other.
You're good to me. Well, I'm no good, empty hands open wide. I'm no angel falling down from the sky. But I know we're good. Baby, we're good for nothing. Baby, we're good for nothing. Baby, we're good for nothing but each other.
And that was Good for Nothing But Each Other. Amanda Cevallos here on the Highwaywoman radio show. This is Bridget London. If you're just joining us, Amanda's got a great new album out called I'll Never Honky Tonk You. And she's got a bunch of CD release parties in Texas happening for those of you in Texas. But those of you listening around the world, make sure you go check this out, download this record. You are going to want it. Trust me. Now, I want to play two more cuts.
Okay.
First up, I want to play, I love your songwriting, but I thought this was so cool that you did Ready for the Times to Get Better. Just like that just sealed the deal for me, not just your songwriting, but also I've always loved this song, and you did such a great version of it. Why did you pick this song? This is an old Crystal Gayle song.
Yeah, because it's timeless. I mean, no question, and it's a mix of, old, cool. I mean, I thought the writing was spectacular, and Alan Reynolds wrote the song, and
Right.
Alan wrote a lot of great songs and produced Crystal Gayle and like 8 of Garth Brooks' first records, and he's brilliant, and I've studied him, and but I've always loved Crystal Gayle, and I've always loved that song. I just think it's timeless. I think it's country, it's honky-tonk, it's folk, it's new, it's old.
And the sentiment still applies.
Yeah, and I'm ready for the times to get better.
Hell yeah.
I want my life to turn into what it's supposed to be, and I think that's, it took me 10 years to put this record out,
Wow. Well, it's definitely worth a wait, girl. Here is Ready for the Times to Get Better, Amanda Cevallos, everyone.
Hoping to find a way out. I've had enough of this continual rain. Changes are coming, no doubt. It's been a too long time, no peace of mind, and I'm ready for those times to get better. It's been a too long time, no peace of mind, and I'm ready.
And that was Ready for the Times to Get Better, a cut off of I'll Never Honky Tonk You, the brand new album from Austin honky tonk singer Amanda Cevallos. This record is so great, and it has such great writing, and I've been playing ever since I got my little hands on a copy. Read My Hips Swaying Goodbye. How can you not love this song?
It's funny when the bartenders at the Brook and Spoke have watched me introduce every new song for the last 2 years, and they know all the words, and of all the songs, I look out and I'm singing Read My Hips Swaying Goodbye, and they're behind the bar singing every word and dancing and doing like little dance moves to it. And I was like, okay, I think I'm onto something. So
It's a great cut. I'm going to play it in a minute, but before we do that, we want to remind everybody to go to amandacevallos.com, AMANDACEVALLOS.com, and also, before we play that song, tell me a little bit you got some really great players on here. Tell me a little bit about why this record is different than the others, besides James, who we mentioned, produced the album, James Highland.
yeah.
What is it about this record, that feels different for you?
Well, I feel like looking back now, I realize that my records were demos. They were just me getting players, friends and whoever was in my band at the time to just cut this tune and these tracks. And then I just, put it on a disc and released it. But this time we sat down and, some of the songs on this record I wasn't going to put, like Smithville. James Highland was like, no, we're making that song. I wasn't going to put Read My Hips, Swaying Goodbye. It wasn't done being written. He begged me. He said, no, please let me produce that song. And I was like, all right, you know, and part of it was like I was just worn out, you know, and I had other songs that I could cut that were done. Then we started really thinking about, okay, who do we want on what track? And we got crazy, you know, we were like, we asked Augie Myers, we got Red Volker, Lloyd Maines is on every single track but one. You know, we really reached out. I called Del Watson and I said, I want you to play guitar on a track. And he says, all right, well, my motorcycle's in the shop, so come pick me up. I said, give me your address. And, you know, we just, we got crazy with it. But it was worth it.
It most certainly was. It most certainly was. What anything else you got coming up you want to share with folks, Amanda?
I'm going to be in Montana and Wyoming on November 8th. I'll be at the Top Hat in Missoula, Montana. On the 9th, I'll be in Lolo, Montana at the Lumberjack Saloon, coolest little spot out in the Bitterroot Valley. And then on the November 10th, I'll be in Sheridan, Wyoming at the Beaver Creek. So, yeah, I'll be on the road.
Awesome, awesome. We want to tell our listeners out there, make sure you go see Amanda.
And the record's on iTunes.
Woohoo! Go download it, folks. Amazon and everything else, too, right, honey?
Yeah, it's all over.
And she's on Facebook. Make sure you join her on Facebook. And we want to wish you the absolute best, but I don't think we need to. I think that this record speaks for itself, and it's going to do really, really well, girl. Great stuff.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Really appreciate all your support, Bridget. I really do.
Hey, you deserve it. And we're going to go out of here with... I do have to admit it is my favorite. Read My Hips, Swaying Goodbye. You know, when I got a hold of this record, just reading, I want to read you some of the titles first before we go. Okay, I'll Never Honky Tonk You, right there. You know, Good for Nothing But Each Other. Texas Hold Him. I played that one a lot, too. I Think I'm Going Crazy, Smithville. The Ready for the Times to Get Better, the Crystal Gale, the Alan Rollins song. He Won't Stop Leaving Me Alone. And You're Gonna Lose Me. And, of course, this one right here, folks, Read My Hips, Swaying Goodbye. Thank you so much, Amanda. Have a blast tonight.
Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
Read my hips, swaying goodbye. Your eye sockets on my pockets all night. This is what leaving you looks like from behind. Read my lips if you wanna know why. We crossed the line for the very last time. This is what